Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining our program for the Nahjul Balagha session. We will, inshallah, start with the recitation of Holy Quran, followed by tafsir session by Sheikh Amin Rastani. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب إن كل نفس لما عليه حافظ فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق خلق من ماء دافق ويخرج من بين الصلب والترائب إنه على وجهه لقادر يوم تبلى السرائر فما له من قوة ولا ناصر والسماء ذات الرجع والأرض ذات السد إنه لقول الفصل وما هو بالحزن إنهم يكيدون كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمحل الكافرين أمحلهم رويدا صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Hope you're doing well.
Very much. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. الخطبة الخامسة والسبعون. Khutbah number 75, and maybe according to some, maybe 76. So, Al-Khutbatu Sadisatu was-Sab'un. Rahimallahu imra'an sami'a hukman fawa'a wa du'iya ila rashadin fadana wa akhadha bihujzati hadin fanaja. In this khutbah, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, what he's doing is that he is pushing the people, encouraging the people to commit good acts, do amal salih, and we can break down what he says in this khutbah into 3 parts. And each part is made up of a few things that he says to be able to reach that destination that we have been created for. So he says, Rahimallahu imra'an sami'a hukman fawa'a. He puts his finger on the first of 5 things you can say that are the prerequisites and are requirements for a person to be able to reach the destination. Number 1, it says, Imra'an sami'a hukman fawa'a. That may Allah have mercy on the one who, and this is an expression in Arabic. When you say Rahimallahu imra'an, may Allah have mercy on this person, meaning what? May Allah help them in what they're doing. You're doing proper dua for them in whatever they're doing. So it says here, the one who hears a hukum, fawa'a. Hukum here, they've said, means anything that has to do with hikmah and wisdom. May Allah have mercy on the one who hears a hukum, something that has wisdom in it, fawa'a. This is the important part. Fawa'a, wa'a or wa'i means to take something in, accept it, heed, take heed in it. And aw'iya is the plural of that, which means containers. So in other words, a person who is a container and a recipient of hikmah. Sometimes hikmah comes our way. Wisdom comes our way. Something that is important for our akhirah comes our way. Just because we hear it isn't going to be enough. We have to be a container for it. We have to absorb it, so to speak. Yeah. If we don't absorb it, that's a problem. There's no good in that thing. So this is what the Amir when he says the first step, okay, and maybe the most important, and by importance what I mean is that without it, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change, is that when you hear something that is to your benefit, that is a hikmah, that is a hukum, you take it in, you absorb it, you become a container for it. You don't let it spill out. All right. وَدُعِيَ إِلَى رَشَادٍ فَدَنَا. And the one who is called to rashad, that is called to the good and refinement, and rushd, we say, yeah, that which is good, is called to that path of good. What do? There's a path that is the path of good. A person is being called to it. What do? Fadana. They get close to that path, put themselves on that path, in other words. وَدُعِيَ إِلَى رَشَادٍ فَدَنَا وَأَخَذَ بِحُجْزَةِ هَادٍ فَنَجَى. And this person, okay, so the first steps are, you know that there's a true path out there. You know there's a khair out there for you. You know there's a rushd out there for you. You make the decision to traverse that path. Okay, that's number one right there, okay? But usually the person who is being called to the straight path, to the path of good and righteousness and all of that, this person is being called by someone who is the leader and who themselves is on that path. So here it says, وَأَخَذَ بِحُجْزَةِ هَادٍ فَنَجَى, and clings on. Now here, like you can say the clothing of, or the belt of a person who is a hadi, is a guide, right? You hang on to that. In other words, it's not going to always be like, show me the way, I shall walk that path myself. No. The going might get tough. When the going gets tough, when you're stuck in a storm, you hang on to things so that you're not blown away into nothingness, And so it's interesting the wording he used, أَخَذَ بِحُجْزَةِ هَادٍ. Not that, I'm going to hear this person out, this guide, this leader. It's not like that. It's not just listening to them. You will cling on to them. You will grab onto their belt. The belt is strapped around a person's back, usually around somebody's waist. So it goes around the waist, around the back, to the front again. That is the exact middle point of a person's body. Like, that person's not going anywhere without their waist. Sometimes you hang on to somebody's hand. Well, their hand can come off maybe, God forbid. Their leg, something like that, a limb. When you hang on to these parts of that person's body, for example, this person's limbs, there's a chance that there will be separation. But when you hang on to somebody's waist, their waist ain't going nowhere unless they're going there too, And so this has the biggest guarantee that you will stick to that person. You won't be blown away into oblivion and nothingness and destruction. So he says they hang on. First, they identify that there's a good path out there. They get to as close as they can to it. But the one who's calling them to that path, they will cling on to that person's belt so that they can be wherever that person goes, they are with that person. So you have to follow the footsteps of the hadi. Now, who is this hadi? Of course, it's Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa alihi. And the Ahlul Bayt alayhi wassalam, the Quran. These are the guides. And so we cling on to them. رَاقَبَ رَبَّهُ وَخَافَ ذَنْبَهُ. So we had 1, 2, 3 so far. رَحِمَ اللَّهُ إِمْرَأً Number one, سمع حكما فوعى. Number two, دعي إلى رشاد فدنا. Number three, أخذ بحجة هاد فنجا. What's number four now? What's the fourth thing that this person needs to do as preparation to even reach the destination, which is in the akhirah? Number four, راقب ربه. This person understands that when it comes to the ultimate felicity and ultimate destination and salvation, I have to make sure that I am going to beware of my Lord. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. The Quran says that this is important and key in Jannah being our eternal abode. The fact that we خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, has fear, was wary of his Lord's position and rank. This person knows I better listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not all just, oh, I love God, that should be enough. Yeah, or I love the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Ahlul Bayt, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, that's going to be enough. خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, the Quran says, or in Nahjul Balagha here it says, رَاقَبَ رَبَّهُ, is careful of his Lord. Is careful of what? What does that mean to be careful? When you are careful of your Lord, you make sure you're doing everything in accordance with what he wants, right? So if a person doesn't have that fear, that initial fear of the Lord, it's going to be a problem most of the time. وَخَافَ ذَنْبَهُ. This person who رَاقَبَ رَبَّهُ, has مُرَاقَبَ, right? Watches out for his Lord and his Lord's satisfaction, also has a fear in his heart. What is that fear? خَافَ ذَنْبَهُ. Has fear of his own sins and disobedience. Okay? This one's important. The wording here is important. Why? Because it says خَافَ ذَنْبَهُ. This person fears their own sin. There's a very important discussion for those people who sometimes will ask, like, why is it that God is going to punish on the day of judgment, sometimes eternally, sometimes even a temporal punishment, yet at the end of the day it's a punishment. Why? The answer, the deeper answer that is given, is that this is not actually a punishment. What is it? On the day of judgment, for example, if I have consumed the wealth of the orphan unjustly, and I get punished on the day of judgment for it, in reality, that punishment is not something God is doing in response to what I did in this dunya. As a matter of fact, that punishment that I am receiving is that haram act that I did here, which was to consume the wealth of an orphan unjustly. إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا, the Quran says, those who consume the wealth of the orphans unjustly, the Quran says, إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا. What they're eating in their tummies, in their stomachs and bellies is what? Is fire, really. Does that mean God is now going to give us fire as a result of the bad thing we did? No, that's not what these mufassirin say when it comes to these verses. They say that the manifestation, let's not even call it manifestation, the actual essence of what I've done here, when I see it there, I see that the essence of what I did was fire. The fire that I'm getting is not the punishment for my bad deed. The fire I'm getting, it is the bad deed. Translated in terms of akhirah, seen through the lens of akhirah. Yeah, if a person puts on the glasses and the lens of akhirah, they will see consuming the wealth of an orphan unjustly. If they put the glasses on, they'll see fire. They won't see anything else, as if. It's very important to understand that what we really are scared of isn't God and God's punishment. We are scared of our own bad actions, our own dhunub. Yeah, so that's what it comes down to, actually. And so here the Imam, he says it very nicely. He says, خَافَ ذَنْبَهُ. This person has fear of his own sins. Okay, so these first five are those are those cornerstones to spiritual wayfaring, spiritual development and growth. Okay? The fact that I understand what my Lord is all about, and so I'm careful of Him. The fact that I fear my own sins. The fact that I get myself as close as I can to the straight path. The fact that I cling on to a hadi, to a guide. Yeah. The fact that when I hear something that is wisdom, I take it in, I absorb it, I take heed. Don't just let it bounce off. You know, when we were kids, we would say, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off of me, sticks to you. Don't be like that with hukum and hikmah. When good words come your way, take them in. Be glue for them. So these are the first 5. A person who doesn't have these, it seems, one can say that this person will not have what it takes for spiritual growth. But is that enough now? These 5 are preliminary steps. They are the requirements for things to work for us to get off our backs and start making an effort for the akhirah. But is that what's going to build our akhirah? No. This is where the next part of this khutbah comes in. He says, okay, so when you have those first 5, قَدَّمَ صَالِحًا خالصا قدم خالصا وعمل صالحا اكتسب مذخورا واجتنب محظورا ورمى غرضا وأحرز عوضا كابر هواه وكذب مناه. Imam says, once you're ready, once you have tilled the ground and the soil is ready for you to plant things in it, what do I present? What do I plant in this soil? قَدَّمَ خَالِصًا. The first one is that I will put forth things that are pure, sincere, only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khulus and ikhlas. This is something we all know. Number 1 on the list is going to be ikhlas. If I'm going to do anything, it has to come with ikhlas. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. Surah Bayyinah says the only thing we told them was do ibadah of Allah with ikhlas. Yeah? And some people will struggle with this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear. We've all heard the hadith, the famous hadith that Allah says, أَنَا خَيْرُ شَرِيكٍ. I am the best of partners. If you put someone next to me in your heart that you're doing good deeds for, whether that is your wife, whether that's your husband, whether that's your kids, whether that's your friends, whether that's your community, whoever it is, if you're doing it for anyone other than me, even if it's 50% me, 50% them, 70% them, 30% me, 70% me, 30% them, doesn't matter. أَنَا خَيْرُ شَرِيكٍ. I'm a good partner. I will relinquish my share to that person that you did it for as well. And so I will give them all of the 100%. Now, why this is the case is a long story of why Allah wants things to be done with ikhlas, because the only way it'll have that effect that we need it to have for us and our growth is if it's done only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and acknowledging that it is only Allah that can do ifadah and can bless us with guidance. So if my mind, my heart is with somebody else, Allah says, okay, you still have work to do. That amal will not be accepted. Okay, so khalisan. When they present, they'll present with khulus, with sincerity, with only Allah in mind and in heart. So now what do I give? What do I put forth? With ikhlas, amalan salihan, wa amila salihan. This person will do amal salih. What else do you want? I mean, this is clear as day. If you have ikhlas, now's the time to start doing as much good as you can. If a person has reached the point where they make the decision that I know that there's a straight path, I am going to try my best to be on that straight path, I am going to cling on to the guide. They have all those preliminary steps taken care of. What are they supposed to do after that? They are supposed to make the most of the time and opportunities they have and do as much amal salih as they can. And of course, there is a hierarchy of amal salih. We'll talk about that maybe later. اكتسب مذخورا واجتنب محظورا. This person what he's doing or she's doing is that they are attaining and acquiring madkhuran. Madkhur, yes, and dhukhr or dhakhira means something that you store, okay, that you save for later, that's going to help you. What these people are doing with amal salih and all of that, what they're going to be doing, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam is pointing out, what you're actually doing is you are storing things for the time that you're going to need them. The wording here is important again. It's giving us perspective. Who is the one who stores things? The one who knows that there is a time that is going to be coming that I will be in need of that provision. A person who doesn't think that there's any day coming that they're going to be in need, they're not going to store anything. They don't think about tomorrow. They think about the now and today. The Quran, the hadiths, and the wording that they use is constantly reminding us that, oh, you're on a journey. Oh, you're like passing by and you're in a rest area right now. It's not your home. They will kind of sound like, we are passing over a bridge. What do? Do you live in a bridge, on a bridge? No, you pass over it. You need it to get to your destination, but it is not your destination at the end of the day. These are what the hadiths are telling us. There is a day coming. You will be empty-handed. Now's the time to take provision. Things like that. Okay. So the wordings that we have in our texts, in our scripture, in our literature, is always echoing this idea of the temporal state and nature of this dunya. That we're supposed to take as much of it as we can and store it. And of course, who's the best of storers? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah takes that amal salih, He's the one who will use it for you. And inshallah, make it exponentially even grow and yield more profits for you, so that on the day of judgment you can use and benefit from that which you have sent to the other side. Iktasaba madkhuran. But we have to be careful. If you are going on a picnic, if you are going on a little vacation or trip, and you put jars of, I don't know, honey and jelly and stuff like that in your picnic basket, but you don't tighten the lids, or if you put all this food in your picnic basket, but next to it you also put that lighter fluid, all right? And when you get to the destination, you open up your picnic basket only to see that those loose lids had opened up and the contents of the jars have spilled all over the back of the car and the trunk of the car. Or that when you take out the basket, you find that this lighting fluid or lighter fluid has gotten all over the food, and for some reason someone lit a match and this stuff just burned to ashes, right? These are just examples. They're not the best examples, but what I'm trying to say is this: just because you store food for your trip and take provision for your journey is not going to be enough. You have to protect it as well. Preserve what you have so that you can use it. So there's two problems here. Number one, some people don't even make the effort to have a madkhur, to have a provision, something that they store for their journey, for the destination they're gonna be at. Some people do that. Now, what's horrible is that they do that, but when they get there, they see it's not there anymore. Why? Because there's another condition as well. Imam Ali says, "Wajtanaba mahdhuran." So the first word was madkhuran. This one is mahdhuran. So of course they rhyme, but they're different words. Mahdhuran, yes, something that you have been forbidden from, something that is off limits. Sometimes we do good. Sometimes we do amal salih. But what happens is we end up doing amal sayyi as well. We end up doing bad things as well. We speak ill of people behind them as well. What happens here? I think we all know what happens here. What happens here is that the amal salih that I had done goes down the drain. The last thing you want is to get to the picnic. Everyone's waiting for you. They're like, yes, he's here. We've heard that his sandwiches are the best, this and that. Only to open up your picnic basket and find that all of the ingredients and toppings of your sandwiches are all over the place. Because why? You didn't secure the ingredients properly in the picnic basket. Doing the work isn't going to be enough. You have to also do something to preserve it. And when it comes to the akhirah, same thing. It's very, very scary that you will, on the day of judgment, you or I will go and all of a sudden, we don't want to see that our good deeds all of a sudden have been lost. So Imam Ali points this out here. He says, look, make sure you ijtanaba mahdhuran. Okay, well, this person, with all of this, rama gharadan, is hitting the target with what they're doing. Okay? Rama gharadan. It can mean different things here. Those who have done commentary on Nahjul Balagha, they've explained maybe different things here. What we'll say is that, okay, with what you're doing, you are hitting the target now. Okay? Wa ahraza iwadan. As a result of hitting the target, in these carnivals, when those little games they have, when you hit the bullseye, they give you a prize. Something like that. Okay, one of the ways of interpreting this part is to say that Imam Ali is saying you hit the target as a result of hitting the target because of these things that we said. Ahraza iwadan. What you get, what you have is that you secure something in return for hitting the bullseye. Who do they give the prize to? The one who hits the bullseye. The one who wins the contest. That person is the one who goes home with the prize. So here, one can say that he's saying they hit the target. Because they hit the target, they get something in return. They get a prize in return. All right, what is this person doing? Kabara hawahu wa kadhaba munahu. This person, now Imam Ali is going to get into some of the secrets, those things that are going to help us on this path. Kabara hawahu. We will have lots of desires throughout our lives. Things that we want, things that we push for. He says this person fights their desires. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to satisfy our desires when those desires are halal and permissible, then we can be sure that Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam in this khutbah is not talking about such a thing. Imam Ali is not speaking about just any desires. When he says they're fighting their desires, the ones that are going to be problematic for them. You don't just fight anybody, you fight an enemy. And that which is our enemy is those desires that our nafs has, those desires that are going to take us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And so that is what is to be fought and resisted. Kabara hawa wa kadhaba munah. And sometimes we have these dreams that are very, very far-fetched, and they have nothing to do for our akhirah, by the way. I'll set a goal that I want to, in my lifetime, I want to hit $20 million in my bank account. All right, cool. But do you know that you're 35 right now and you're still you still don't have a very great education or a job or anything like that? It doesn't look like you're going to get there. Why not set a more realistic goal? No, I got to aim for the stars. Yeah, but there are different stars. There are some stars we know, some of us, it's going to be very far-fetched for us to reach. Let us try to set realistic goals, because if we set goals like that have nothing to do with our akhirah, by the way, shaitan might end up using that to distract us from that which is more important for us. Reach for the stars, shoot for the stars, but if you know it's utterly impossible for you, at least aim for those stars that are a little bit closer, and then aim for the stars of the akhirah as well. Kadhaba munah means that he tells his dreams that no, I'm not going to listen to you. I don't believe you. You're promising me things that if I reach those dreams, yeah, it's like as if I have everything. No, no, no. I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to do takdeeb of you. You're lying. It's very important to not give benefit of the doubt sometimes to some of those far-fetched, unreachable dreams that we have. All right, so that's another one. One of those helps. جعل الصبر مطية نجاته والتقوى عدة وفاته. It says that this person, what they do is they will take sabr and patience as their vessel and ride. Why? Because, brothers and sisters, there's two reasons why there's no choice but to have patience in the path towards the destination of spiritual growth and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one is that it's going to take some time. And if it's going to take time, it's going to be gradual, it requires patience, number one. Number two, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's not always going to be smooth sailing either. If a person in the first bump or second bump is going to be like, I'm done, I can't do this, I'm out, well, excuse me. That's just how life is for everyone. تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. The days of this life, they're going to be full of ups and downs. One day they're for you, one day they're against you. One day Allah gives one person one thing, one day He takes it away from them and gives it to somebody else. That's just how it is. If it wasn't bumpy, He wouldn't bring us here. That's how we grow. That's how we get stronger. It's like saying, I want to pump weights, but I want to make sure these weights don't weigh too much. Well, excuse me, you're not going to make any gains like that. It has to be reasonable, of course. It can't be too much or else you'll hurt yourself. But it can't be light and, you doing 1,000 reps and still not feeling any burning in your muscles. That's not how it works. You don't make gains like that. It's going to be hard. So it's going to be time. It's going to be gradual. It's going to be hard. In other words, this is a one-way road to patience. There is no other way out. You have to have patience on this journey. And so what he says here is that this person is going to make sure that they're going to take sabr and patience as their vessel and ride, right? One person has a Honda, one person has an Acura, one person has a Toyota, one person has a sabr. That is their car. That is their ride and vessel. Okay? If they have that, matiyata najatihi, this will be their smoothest ride to their destination of najat and salvation and deliverance. In other words, brothers and sisters, can I reach a destination without a vessel and ride? Usually no. I mean, who walks these days? Right? No one walks long distances. You take a car, you take a ride, you something like that. One way I want to, understand and interpret this line of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam is that it's a good vessel. And in other words, if you don't have this vessel, you have to walk, and you're not going to make it. Without patience, you're not even going to make it. And so this is super important as well. وَالتَّقْوَى عُدَّةَ وَفَاتِهِ. And for his death, this person, what do they take as their fuel or their provision once again, or that which is their preparation for their wafat and passing away from this dunya? At-taqwa. I mean, this is something that Amir al-Mu'minin is talking about all the time in Nahjul Balagha. Taqwa, taqwa, taqwa. Okay? And so, what does taqwa entail? Taqwa entails that we make sure that we do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any wajib or haram, inshallah. That's what it is. There will be different definitions for taqwa: God wariness, fear of God, God consciousness, things like that. Okay, whatever your translation is, whatever equivalent you choose, in the end, a person who has taqwa is a person that is going to reach a point, inshallah, where they're not disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what it's going to come down to practically. ركب الطريقة الغراء ولزم المحجة البيضاء. This person, they will jump on that road Yeah, that clear, straight, smooth path. Okay, you're going to take the smoothest path possible. I know I said it's going to be bumpy. At the end of the day, when you are riding a car or a vehicle that has 4 tires, all right, those tires are going to be, it's going to be bumpy. It's not like you are hovering. You are actually, there's going to be some traction and friction on the road, on the asphalt, and those tires, right? I mean, I'm just using examples here to just illustrate what we can understand from these lines of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. ركب طريقة الغراء, that path that is glowing, that path that is smooth, that path that is the straightest path. This person jumps on it, rakiba, gets on it, rides it. Think about it. You've got a service road on the side and you're looking at the highway and you're like, man, I'm just waiting to be able to exit from this service road into the main road. And so once you get that opportunity, what are you going to do? You are going to exit into the main road, the main highway, right? Who wants to take a service road full of red lights, All right? And so you jump on it, rakiba. But at the same time, وَلَازِمَ الْمَحَجَّةَ الْبَيْضَاءَ. Then this person, once he gets on that path, lazima means that you will remain on it as well. You will remain on it as well. So in other words, like to give a tangible example, we all usually, as we get older, we have to diet. These gosh darn metabolisms of ours, they don't keep up with the age. They stay behind, unfortunately. And so lots of times people will be dieting. Now, let's say someone diets for the longest time, gets in shape, all of that. But once they let go, what's going to happen? Of course, you're going to go back to what you were before probably. You can't be like, I did what I needed to do. I've reached this milestone and I'm good now. No, the moment you let go, the moment you are going to start regressing back to square one. Here it says, jumps on that main road, right? That's going to be less bumpy, that is going to get them to the destination, is quicker, is clearer. Al-Gharra and Bayda, these all imply clarity and light and radiance and things like that. Jumps on it and stays on it. Once you're on the highway, don't exit into the service road again because you're going to slow down again. They haven't even paved part of this service road. There's 20 red lights waiting for you to laugh at you while you're standing there. Although nowadays red lights are pretty good. You know why? Because you pull your phone out for those 30 seconds or a minute and you just go on social media and see what's going on, Anyway, every now and then I'll stop at a red light. I'll look at the cars that are next to me, behind me, just to see who's on their phone. And usually everyone is taking a look at their phone. Anyway, so these are the times we're in. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that, it's happening. Life is different. You never thought someone would actually like the light to be red, But you get the feeling some people are like that, and you hear horns honking more at red lights because the person that's at the front of the line sometimes is on their phone, doesn't realize that the light has turned green. Anyway, the last 3 segments of this khutbah. It says, اغتنم المحل. These last 2 or 3 are my favorites, to be honest. In addition to the sabr one. It says, اغتنم المحل. Or one might say muhal, which is the plural of muhla maybe. Whatever the actual dabt of this word is, اغتنم. What it has here in the one that I have, it says mahal, but it might be muhal. Anyway, muhla means opportunity, that respite, that time that you have for something. Okay? اغتنم means to make the most of something, to see something as valuable, as ghanima, to take something as ghanima. اغتنم ghanima. The root of ghanima goes into اغتنم, and it means to take something as ghanima, as valuable, right? Ghanima in Arabic usually refers to war spoils. Yeah, they're valuable. They're so valuable that Back in the day, people would go to war and battle. One of the reasons they would go was for the war spoils. Okay. So, اغتنم المهل. This person takes and sees the opportunities in this life as valuable, as priceless. Time in this dunya is money, is akhirah money. That's what it is. And so you will find that these greats, they won't waste their time too much. And I hate to talk about this because I don't fall into this category myself. But they don't waste time. If they have 2 minutes to walk from one place to another, they'll be saying dhikr, they'll be reciting Quran to themselves even. They make the most of every second that they can. Now, I'm not saying be too obsessive and perfectionist, brothers and sisters, but there will be times it's okay to recite a few salawat on our way to work. It's okay to recite a few salawat, during the commercial break of a program we might be watching and so on. Yes. So, bada اغتنم المهل or muhal. This person will make the most of every opportunity they can in this life. وَبَادَرَ الْأَجَلَ. بَادَرَ الْأَجَلَ. This person, I would say, badara here means to beat something. To beat something. Beat something in a race, to fall ahead of something. That's what it's saying. Badara al-ajal. You have an expiration date or time to beat it, to beat that. To get what you need to get done before the deadline. All right? To meet the deadline, to beat the deadline. Something like that. To win a race. Ajal usually refers to death, brothers and sisters. This person, what does he do or she do? What they do is that they are in a race with their death and they beat their death when it comes to this race, in reaching their destination. In other words, death doesn't become a barrier between them and their destination. They reach the destination before leaving this dunya. And when I say reaching destination, of course, the akhirah and Allah is the ultimate destination. What I mean is reaching that point where they have secured what they need of makhdur, and stayed away from all of the mahdurs in order to have that proper picnic basket for the picnic that they're going to be having in Yawm al-Qiyamah. That's what I'm trying to say. This person, before the deadline arrived to be ready for the picnic, they got everything ready, and they made sure nothing got messed up either, nothing spilled either. Now it's time for the picnic. Now's the time for the grand feast. Everyone's opening up their picnic baskets. This person proudly opens up their picnic basket as well. Everything is in its place, and they have enough to enjoy themselves in this grand feast of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I dare say the picnic of the akhirah. So this person beats their death. Death was trying to get to them before they are able to put together their picnic basket. And I hate the fact that I keep repeating the word picnic basket, but it's an example I'm using here. Death, the deadline, was trying to get there first before they were able to put together what they need of provision. But they beat the deadline. And they have what they need. So they've reached that destination, so to speak. They've reached what they need to of goals. And so now they're good. They're set. فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Jannah is the eternal abode for them. وَتَزَوَّدَ مِنَ الْعَمَلِ. And finally, all of this talk that we have, right? It's as if Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying, all of this talk that we have, all of these things we're speaking of theoretically, all of that, in the end, it all boils down to amal. وَتَزَوَّدَ مِنَ الْعَمَلِ. This person will take actual provision. Tazawwada comes from zad. Zad means provision. They take provision from what? Of amal, of actions and deeds They're not going to settle for anything less than deeds. And of course, the best of deeds and the best of provisions, the Quran tells us, is what? فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. The best zad, the best provision is taqwa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to be followers of the Ahlul Bayt, especially Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, in these guidelines that he and the others of the Ahlul Bayt have provided for us in our lives. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you, Sheikh Amin.
And I just want to say that this was our last session as well. It's been a year and a half, I think, now that we did Nahjul Balagha on Thursday nights, and I just want to thank everyone who would tune in and who would follow along with us. This past year, COVID has been tough, I know, and I just want to thank the brothers and sisters involved who were setting up the programs that were online, and even Salatul Jum'ah that we, eventually started up, and we were, the protocols. I know that they were going by all the protocols and making sure that they protect the brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, in Dallas, the weather is good, so we were able to do a lot of our Jum'ahs outdoors as well. I mean, the ones that we were gonna do because of acceptable weather, we did them outdoors, and so it's been tough. And Alhamdulillah, we were able to end, in this way. So I mean, this is the last program that I'll be having as resident alim for a moment. I just wanted to make that clear. Just a couple of points I want to make. And inshallah, I'm going to write something up as well if I can. But I just want to clarify a couple of things so that we are moving forward. There are no misunderstandings. I just want to clarify that with this week ending, that there is no commitment anymore between Momin and me, or me and Momin Center. And because I have heard that some people are saying that there's still some commitments and stuff like that. No. That time is over. Alhamdulillah, when I came to the community, one person I remember told me, Sheikh, you won't last more than 3 months. And so it's been 4 years, alhamdulillah. But yeah, this time has now ended, and I just want everyone to know that I don't want any expectations to be there and any disappointments to happen as well. So I just want to clarify that as well. Although I'll be around, just like, I'll be around for other places, other centers, other things that I'm doing. Also, if there's availability by me, and if there is a request by Moment Center as well, I mean, I'll still be around, inshallah, as long as I can be. And I want everyone to forgive me for any shortcomings. I'm also stepping down from the Royat Hilal committee as well. I want that to be clear as well. There are different reasons for these. I don't want to get into it at all. Yeah, inshallah, I will try to clarify some more things moving forward in something that I put out for the community. I really, 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 from the bottom of my heart, love this community, and I thank them for everything and all of their kindness and taking me in as their own. And inshallah, moving forward, we will also have a wonderful relationship, inshallah. And with that, we will end this session. I'm sorry, Bakr, that you were going to say something.
No, sure. Yeah, as Sheikh, you mentioned, this your last lecture on the Nahjul Balagha session. I think we started this back in, I think, August 2019. So we've come a long way, and I know that these khutbahs and Amali and Nahjul Balagha are very difficult to comprehend. Yes. And you made it very easy for us to understand. And on behalf of the Moment Executive Committee and the community, I would like to thank you for your 4+ years of service. We have benefited immensely from your knowledge and experience at this time. And if any shortcomings from our side, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive us, Chair. And as long as you're in Dallas, inshallah, there would be some other opportunities where we can benefit from your experience and knowledge. And we wish you the best, Sheikh, and you're in our prayers, inshallah.
Jazakumullah. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.